Welcome to this webinar on exam techniques and revision strategies for your learners. These techniques and strategies can be used for a range of our NCFE qualifications with exams. In your registration link, you will find the web address used in the presentation to copy into your ULR browser. A quick introduction about myself. I'm Beth Hudspeth. I'm a Provider Development Officer who supports centres and providers across the country with NCFE's range of qualifications. I have nearly 20 years experience of teaching in an FE college, and my background is art and design. In this webinar, we will cover a range of strategies for your learners to support their revision and exam techniques. First, we will start with some quick tips. Revision quick tips for your learners. You can share these techniques with your learners. Course boosters. Remind learners to attend sessions after school or lunchtime. Recap. Recap the end of the lesson and remind your learners to recap on subject topic after the lesson or at the end of the day as homework. Subject terminology. Show learners examples of flashcards showing active recall. Remind learners to produce new cards every week, month, or when new content is covered in the lesson. And they can be used as a starter activity to begin revision. Boost your knowledge. Learners can use coursework, handout revision and workbooks to revisit the topics covered in the class. Study groups. Study group works for some learners in and outside school. Learners could set up an online group for sharing information. Sample question papers. Mock papers are a great way to be exam ready and revise. Learners can check their answers themselves or peer assess. Set timers for doing the paper. Create visual mind maps. Show examples of mind maps focusing on topics, showing words with prompts to help you recall key information. Quick tips. Time spent doing revision. Space learning and distribute practice. 3 separate hours with breaks over a time period is far more effective than revising for 3 hours non-stop. More quick tips for learners. Again, you could use this table with your learners or adapt to your own. Remind learners to use the knowledge gained in the core teaching content and learning lessons. The WWWH. Show learners this method, the who, what, where, when, why, and how to support revision and in their exams. Apply theoretical knowledge and understanding from the lessons and in the revision notes. Break it down. Break down the exam questions from practice papers. What knowledge do the learners need to draw from? What aspects of the question impact on their own answers and evaluating, providing justification for the answers? Prepare and practice for a range of different question styles, long, short, and multiple choice. And prepare by reading the practice paper questions properly and carefully. Guide your learners, read the instructions properly, reading all the question carefully. Check how many marks are available. Plan each answer before start writing and answer the question and name the key information. Use these quick tips for learners to use in exams. Remind learners to read the whole task paper. Check what is ahead in all sections of the paper to get a good idea of how they will approach the tasks. Remind learners to stay calm, not to panic, take deep breaths. A good technique is to use the TGT-MIM to get the marks I must. Show learners how to circle or underline the important elements of the question or task, making sure they respond to each of these in the exam question. This could also be a revision technique. Focus. Make sure your learners can focus on the question and not let their minds wander or panic. Cover the quality of written communication. Remind the learners when it comes to written work, try to write in logical order using well-constructed sentences, showing good use of grammar with few spelling mistakes and include subject-related terminology. Extra sessions on SPAG can support this. And guide your learners on making clear points and being able to back it up. When referring to the point, always give reasons to why and how to back it up. Next, we will look at top 5 tips for preparing for exams and revision strategies. We have covered practice papers in the previous section, quick tips, but practice papers are one of the most effective revision techniques. When it comes to revising, it's easy to fall into a trap of revising things that learners feel comfortable in, the things that they know well. However, learners need not to fall into this pattern and look at the whole content. Completing practice papers allows your learners to identify the information that they don't know and what they need to know ahead of the exam. Advice and guidance your learners to start revising early. Whatever overall strategy your learners are following when it comes to revision, remind them it pays to start early. Remind learners whilst late night cramming the night before an exam does actually have some surprising science behind it, it leaves too much to chance to be a reliable revision strategy that's recommended. Revising at least 1 month in advance of an exam will help your learners to recap as much of their course information as possible and give them time to identify and act on areas they need to improve their knowledge in. Teach your learners how to make effective notes. To revise effectively, your learners need to take good notes. And to take good notes, they need to be able to summarize information in a way that works well for them. There are lots of different note-taking methods to choose from out there. It's worth bearing in mind that everyone learns in different ways, so the exact method your learners choose will depend on how best they learn. Let's have a look at the website I've found on different methods of note-taking. Note-taking method, the outline method, the Cornell method, the boxing method, the charting method, this is a great web link and the link will be within your registration link. The thing that all these methods have in common is in fact that they're structured, they're organized information in an order that works best for your learners. When taking notes, they'll be able to boost their revision and overall retention of knowledge. Support your learners to create a revision timetable. Creating a schedule will help your learners add a sense of stability to their revision schedule and will help them ensure they cover everything and don't leave anything out. A revision timetable is essentially a calendar of a particular topics to revise on a particular day. Your learners can create one by just making a note of all of the topics they need to revise and then choosing slots on the days of which week to revise them on. If your learner would rather do things digitally, then you're in luck. A great range of online planning and diary tools exist for them out there to use. Inform your learners the importance of sleep. Sleep is essential when it comes to revision. Research suggests that sleep plays an important role in helping our brains to process learning and consolidate memories. This makes it pretty invaluable when it comes to revision and trying to remember information. As well as influencing our brain's performance, sleep is also essential for our physical and mental health too. Controlling the release of hormones, these affect everything from our appetite, growth, to our body's healing rate. Most experts recommend that adults get between 7 to 9 hours sleep a night for function at their best. This figure varies with age, with younger adults needing slightly longer. Next, we will look at reward and motivation. Remind learners to reward themselves, that it's okay to take a break. Here are a few tips to share with your learners. They could reward themselves, for example, they could see friends or watch a good movie once finished their revision session. Do something physical. When learners are not revising, they could use their spare time to get away from the books and do something active. Exercise is good, taking our minds off stress and keeping us positive, and will help to sleep better as well. Take regular short breaks. Studying for hours and hours will only make your learners tired and ruin their concentration, which may make them even more anxious. Remind learners to take a break every 45 to 60 minutes is about right. Motivation and mental preparation. Here is a guide from the NHS website for your learners that you could share. Make sure your learners know how to ask for help if they are stressed. Remind the importance to talk to someone, not to be embarrassed to ask for support. On the day, remind learners how to handle exams and keep motivated. Some key points you can share with them. Be prepared. Start the day with a good breakfast and remind them to give themselves plenty of time to get to the exam hall. Remind them to take everything they need, including pencils, pens, and a calculator and a bottle of water and some tissues are also useful, but check exam requirements. Take a few minutes to read the instructions and the questions. Then learners will know exactly what's expected of them. Learners can ask an exam supervisor if anything is unclear. They're there to help in some capacity. Plan how much time they'll need for each question. Remind your learners not to panic if they get stuck on a question, but to try and leave themselves enough time at the end to come back to it. Once the exam is finished, forget about it. Remind learners not to spend too much time going over it in their heads or comparing answers with their friends. Just focus on the next exam instead. We will now look at online tools that can be used to support exam techniques and revision strategies. There are so many online tools you can use with learners. Here are a few that are available, and there are many more. Mentimeter, a great interactive classroom activity. Google Forms, these can be used in lessons and for homework. Flipgrid, Flip is a video discussion tool from Microsoft that opens up in the classroom. And Google Classroom. These are some online tools and they are not endorsed by NCFE, but recommended that you could use in your classroom. Our final section, we will look at reasonable adjustments. Some learners are entitled to reasonable adjustments if the needs require this, and it can be evidence. This could be modified papers to extra time. Please see the list on the slide. This is not an exhaustive list. Other adjustments may be available depending on the student or learner's needs, and not all of these adjustments will be reasonable in all cases. You may wish to read the JCQ guidance on access arrangements and reasonable adjustments. Please see further guidance on our NCFE website under Policies and Documents, or by contacting one of our customer service team. Thank you for watching this webinar on exam techniques and revision strategies. If you need any further support, do contact us at our NCFE, our customer support and our provider development team for teaching and learning. And a reminder, in your registration link, you will find the web addresses used in this presentation to copy into your URL browser. Thank you.